we can discuss about the difference between target variable and instrumental variables in macroeconomic policy, and what are the macroeconomic policy instruments that is used to achieve the desired objectives, and what the different types of conflict that are arising in public policy making. Let us move on to the difference between target variable and instrumental variable. Target variables are those variables, they are also known as the goal variables, for which the government seek desirable values. The targets are set with a view to maximizing social welfare. Policymakers are represented as an allied, united group who can determine the unique values for the target variable with well-defined criteria of social welfare or public interest. In order to achieve the desired values of the target variable, the determinants of the target variable must take on appropriate values. For example, we have to reduce the unemployment rate, we have to reduce the poverty rate, then we have to achieve the targeted growth rate, etc. That is the target variable. But instrument variables are those variables that the government can manipulate or control in order to achieve its target or the economic objective, or to attain that specific values for that target variable. Instrumental variables are necessarily, as the government must be able to determine the values independently of other variables in the economy. The example for instrumental variables are money supply, tax rate, interest rate, etc. Sometimes there is an intermediate or indicator variable that lies in between this instrument and the target variable, and that indicate the direction of the economic policy. To illustrate this kind of variable, that is one of the target of the policy may be the rate of unemployment, one of the instrument may be reserve requirement, and the indicator of that stance of policy may be the supply of money or the level of interest rate. The role of economic theory in economic policy formulation is to establish the link between that instrument, the intermediate and the target variable. If the relationship between these variables are not known, then the task of economic policy formulation becomes a little bit too difficult. The task of the economists is to improve the knowledge of such linkages and provide precise quantitative estimates of such links. The most generally accepted targets of macroeconomic policy are full employment, low rate of inflation, balance of payment equilibrium, and satisfactory rate of economic growth. Let us move on to what are the various instruments that is used in macroeconomic policy making. As our macroeconomic goals are more typically confined to full employment, price stability, rapid growth, BOP equilibrium, and stability in foreign exchange rate, so our macroeconomic policy instruments include monetary policy, fiscal policy, income policy in a narrow sense. But in a broader sense, these instruments should include policies relating to labor, tariff, agriculture, anti-monopoly, and other relevant ones that influence the macroeconomic goals of a country. Confining our attention in a restricted way, we intended to consider two types of policy instruments, that they are the giants of the industry, that is the monetary or the credit policy, and the fiscal budgetary policy. These two policies are employed toward altering the aggregate demand so as to bring about a change in the aggregate output GNP or GDP and the prices, wages, interest rate, etc. throughout the economy. Okay, the main policy instrument, that is monetary versus the fiscal policy. The main policy instruments available to meet the macroeconomic objectives are the monetary policy, that is the policy used to change the interest rate, the supply of money and credit, and also the changes to the value of the exchange rate. And the fiscal policy is the policy used to change, represent the change in the government's taxation, government spending, borrowing, supply side policies designed to make market work more efficiently, etc. Monetary policy attempts to stabilize the aggregate demand in the economy by influencing the availability or price of money, that is the rate of interest in an economy. Monetary policy may be defined as a policy employing the central bank's control of the supply of money as an instrument for achieving the macroeconomic goals. Fiscal policy, on the other hand, aims at influencing the aggregate demand by altering the tax, expenditure, debt program of the government. The credit for using this kind of fiscal policy in the 1930s goes to the James Keynes, who discredited the monetary policy as the means of attaining some of the macroeconomic goals, such as goal of full employment. The fiscal policy has come into scrutiny in terms of its effectiveness in achieving the desired macroeconomic objectives. The same is true about the monetary policy. One can see several rounds of ups and downs in the effectiveness of both these policy instruments, consequent upon criticism and counter-criticism in the theoretical foundation. It may be pointed out here as there are conflicting among different macroeconomic goals. Policymakers are in a dilemma in the sense that neither of the policies can achieve a desired goals. Hence, there is a need for additional policy measures like income policy, price control, etc. Okay, let us discuss what are the different kind of conflict that are arising in public policy, especially related to these macroeconomic goals. We have seen certain important macroeconomic goals to be pursued at framing economic policies and implementing them. But in actual practice, it may so happen that the different goals or objectives pursued may be conflicting. It is possible that in implementing a policy to achieve a particular goal, it may be incompatible with another goal. For example, conflict between growth and unemployment, conflict between price and unemployment, conflict between prices and balance of payment, conflict between saving and investment, conflict between political ideology and its practice in the real sense. Thus, the government will face conflicting goals and policies in different spheres. When conflict arises in macroeconomic goals, the government should have to clearly specify the priorities and evolve a compromise so that it can create least distortion in the economy. Thank you.